New Year. This is a huge, huge day for so many people, right? We just closed the chapter of 1 year, like a big chapter of our life, and we're opening up a new chapter. And with new, there's possibility, there's excitement, there's hope. And then also comes reality that hits in like 10 days when we start to feel like all of the New Year's resolutions and the goals that we set aren't attainable, right? We try and fail every year. So I wanted to do a special podcast today with someone who has lived the roller coaster of life. Like he has a really amazing story. This guy is also one of my best friends on the planet. I love him like a brother. He basically is a brother of mine, but has a really incredible story, a lot of things that he's overcome. Yeah. Everybody meet Bruce Pitcher.
Hello, how we doing?
Guys, we're in the car.
Yeah.
We're in the car for this because we have kids running around. We're on Christmas break, you know? Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't really go into your full bio, but let's talk. I wanted you to be able to say hi first. Bruce and I met how many years ago now?
Over 10.
Has it been over a decade?
Yeah, it has.
Think of all the things we've seen each other in the room.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So we met over a decade ago on the set of Extreme Weight Loss. So Bruce was one of our participants or I don't know what you call them these days, one of our peeps on the show. For those of you that don't know, my ex-husband and I, Chris Powell, used to host a show on ABC called Extreme Weight Loss. We did that for 5 seasons, 5.5. And we got to help people who were considered super obese have the most incredible, extraordinary transformations. We would help them lose half their body weight over the course of 1 year. And we would work with about 16 people at a time. And each episode that would air, so there'd be 12 or so episodes, each episode was one person's full year journey. And so Bruce was by far and away season 4, episode 4.
That's right. We never forget.
I'm going to make you put your mic on.
Yeah.
Season 4, episode 4. Best episode actually won an award.
Yeah. No big deal. It's real heavy. The trophy's real heavy, just to let everyone know.
I feel like when this podcast comes out, we have to post the picture. We went to a full-on award show.
Like if you're out there, Law and Order SVU was there. So everyone knows that show. Everyone knows that show's been around for like 30 years. Yeah. And
it was specifically not just our show, Extreme Weight Loss. It was Bruce's episode that won an award.
I remember we were going up against an episode from SVU about an alcoholic overcoming alcoholism, but we crushed it. So.
Well, that's what's awesome is when people hear about weight loss, they like just think physical transformation. And there's a lot of people listening that are wanting in this new year to finally reach their weight loss goals. And chances are if you're here and you're listening, you've probably said this every year for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Hey, maybe this year I can actually make it happen. You did that for a long time. Can you tell us, I mean, I know your story, but can you tell everyone your story, including the number of times that you tried out for shows, how much weight you lost? They don't know anything.
Okay. Well, so when I did meet Heidi, I was over 400 pounds. I was 420 pounds. And I would try it out for Extreme Weight Loss 3 other times. And then this other show called Biggest Loser. I'm sure people know that one too, 7 times. So how that works is a lot of the production people
Did you
work
hear
both
that?
shows.
3 times, Biggest
times.
Loser. In
Got
3
lots of
years.
videos.
And then how many times with Extreme?
3.
3 times. So 4 times Biggest Loser. Wait, what was
7
it?
on Biggest Loser.
7.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I have so many of those at home make video things.
Like,
It's
do you know most people, I just want to stop there for a sec because most people would try out the first time and not get it and be so defeated and not try again. And then they might try a second time. For those that went on to the second, can you imagine being denied twice and then 3 times? And like you did 7 times. You kept showing up.
Yeah.
What'd you feel when you were defeated that many times?
Well, I literally felt like especially the last time, because it was the furthest that I had gone. And then, and how they do it is they break it down in rounds. So the second to last time before I made it finally, I was like really far into it, almost made it to finals.
Yeah.
But I got cut right before finals, and I was just like, this is so stupid. I guess it's just never meant to happen. You know, like you really do start to doubt big time. And I thought it was only the way that I was like, and the funny thing is, so many people would tell me to try out for those shows and that I would be good at it and conquer it. And I had only seen your guys' show like once going in.
Yeah.
But it was just like, but I felt like I was never going to get skinny, I guess, is what I thought. So,
okay. So I want to say this real quick. A little bit of background, because this is a really important part of Bruce's story. Bruce is, he's an author. He has a book that talks all about his story. It's called Larger Than Life. Bruce also, I mean, when we met him 10 years ago, he was a cashier at a gas station. And that's what he thought his life was meant for, was being a cashier at a gas station. Never thought he could be anything more.
I was a manager.
Manager.
Yeah,
manager. And no offense to anyone who is, I think that's a really great job. And also Bruce knew that there was more in him and just thought maybe he didn't have it. He has battled dyslexia and some just things that made life challenging. Also, do you mind me telling?
No, not at all.
Your dad had sexually molested you from the time you were young, and it was kind of all that you knew. Right. Yep. So for him to go from when we met 420 pounds, it's not about the number on the scale. Let me tell you this. The number on the scale is quantitative evidence of the hard work he put in. But what really mattered were the non-scale victories. He did go from 420 to, was it 181?
Yeah. What was it 181?
181 over the course of a year, or it was 180 something over the course of a year. So
200 something pounds.
Yep.
So either way.
Yeah. And while the weight loss was amazing and the before and after was amazing, what was really cool, Bruce, was, I mean, I was in there with you, obviously. Like, it was seeing who you became along the way. Yeah. It was, your dad, who was in prison for life at the time. He was up for parole. And so we got to bring the cameras in the courtroom, which was super touching and super emotional to hear you.
And that was a miracle that we got the cameras in.
Oh my gosh. It really was. If you guys have not seen his episode, go search on Hulu. Isn't it on Hulu?
I think it's on Hulu and it's on Prime. You can I think it's like $4. Best $4 you'll ever spend.
It is. It's 2 hours. Yeah. Isn't it 2 hours?
Well, 1 hour and 23 minutes commercial free.
Hour and 23. Bruce, obviously look up Bruce picture. It's a really touching episode. You get to see, Bruce, you in the courtroom, just to paint a picture for people. His dad's up for parole. Obviously his dad had sexually abused him and many other boys. And to hear Bruce be able to speak, the judge let you speak, Bruce, and hear you forgive your dad, and also say, and I think you're where you meant, like, hey, I love you. I forgive you?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Forgive you, but I think you're in for your safety and for everybody else's. He just needs to stay in there, because that was, people don't realize, even though it was a 5-minute clip, we were in there for an hour and a half of like 2 hours almost of like nonstop reading off everything that had gone on.
Yeah.
And it was intense. Talk about intense. And a different kind of intensity.
Yeah. It was a mental, emotional workout. Like comparable to some of the most physical. And even though we were in that room for 2 hours, you at that point in your life had been living inside of that hell for decades, and I think that's what was so cool about I don't want to say episode, but your story. That's what's so cool, is to see that as you unloaded the emotional weight, the physical weight came off. Do you feel like that was a turning point for you?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think that's what my whole transformation. If you look at your show and as a whole, there's always a monumental physical thing in everybody's episodes. There's some physical daunting thing that they do. And in mine, it was like the opposite. Yeah. Like we did physical things, obviously, but it was so much more than just, doing a marathon which is great, or doing a hardcore, like Go Ruck or something like that. But it was just more of that side of what I believe transformation really is all about, Yeah. So,
well, I haven't really talked about it much on here at all. Like, I have hardly tapped into transformation, but one of the things that and this is, we always say that there's a difference between weight loss and transformation. Weight loss is
100%.
temporary, and weight loss is calories in, calories out. If you eat at a caloric deficit, you're going to lose weight, and it's the number on the scale, right? That is weight loss. It's most often, it's temporary if that's what you focus on. Transformation has absolutely nothing to do with the number on the scale, has nothing to do with what you eat, and has everything to do with what's going on inside of your mind and inside of your heart. And when you focus on your mind and your heart, and we talk about the things that, integrity, dignity, keeping your promises, falling without failing, all of these things that maybe guys on this podcast, maybe over time I'll get into, you have the tools to make change in every single area of your life. And what Chris and I did with you guys on the show is we sat you down and said, hey, diet and exercise, you think you're here, and we're going to teach you diet and exercise. But what we're really we will, and it'll take us 20 minutes. That's the easy part. First, we're going to spend 4 hours talking about your heart, your mind, your integrity, right? What was that like in the room?
It was just really eye-opening. It just really was I just soaked in everything because I felt like it was my last opportunity, and I took the mental side because like you just said, there's so many people that have tried with me with diets, exercise. I mean, you can Google them, you can look them up, you can hire a coach, you can hire a trainer, all this stuff, but obviously none of that was working.
None of it stuck. None of it stuck. What's the difference between, because you had tried over and over and over and over.
Over and over. It was literally those little mindset pieces. And then having somebody, just believe in you and just know and not look at you and be like, you can't do this, but look at you and just be like, you can do this and you can achieve what people think is impossible for you to do. And then you just start building that momentum of what you guys talk about of making a simple promise and integrity. And then you just you just keep it to yourself and you're like, oh, maybe I can do something, and it literally is that small. And then it's just a snowball effect, it just gets bigger and bigger, like it's rolled down the hill, and then you just become unstoppable. And it's not like you're not going to struggle, and I think and that
was another thing we always would talk about, have realistic expectations. The journey is not going to be smooth sailing. You are not always going to have good weigh-ins. You're not always going to keep your promises. You're going to mess up, and it's okay. It's okay.
Well, and the thing is over 10 years now out of this, and it's just you realize and helping people and everything. It's just too many people, and especially going into this new year, everyone's going to be talking about their goals and all these numbers they're going to take. And it's how many of you, your identity is that, why do you want your identity to be that? When you I've told a couple people, I'm when you die, when I die, nobody's going to get up there and be like, holy shit, did you see Bruce? He hit 183 pounds on the scale.
Amen.
On extreme weight loss. Did you see he lost? No one's going to identify me as this person.
Your weight is not going to be on your headstone.
No.
Period.
No one's going to be like, that guy was so impressive in weight loss. Nobody's going to
died at 225 pounds. You're right.
That guy just ate so much chicken and just and I get you're just supposed to I do that for a whole different purpose, right? For my identity to be all the other stuff that I want it to be a good husband, be a good father, be a good friend, be a good, just all these other things of helping people and everything else. That's why I do this stuff, not because of a particular number on a scale. And that's where people get so caught up in these stupid ass before and afters, and they think, oh my gosh, that's the success of that person.
It's not.
That's not.
Well, one of the things, I want to say this before I say what I'm going to say, because you just touched on those basic lessons that I'm not crapping you guys. I'm trying not to cuss in this episode. I usually do. They are the difference. To approach transformation and from a place of, I want to learn how to love myself. I want to learn how to be able to keep my commitments. I want to learn the mindset. They're not even hacks. They're lessons, right? They're actual lessons. They're the small things that when we understand them, then it shifts our perspective. So we all of a sudden have a pair of glasses on that's oh my gosh, I can see clearly. I know, and I can't unknow how to get from where I am to where I want to be. And in that moment, when you become a promise keeper, then you actually are unstoppable. If you choose to be, and when you fall, you know how to get back up.
Yeah.
It's like learning how to ride a bike.
Yeah, that's the difference. So, something that I was just talking about the other day, because I get so frustrated with this. So everybody's going to have their goals, and we don't even need to talk about transformation. Like this show just falling, like I kept losing, not getting picked. Some of you guys are going to go do careers, and you're going to fall flat in the face, and then you're going to come home, and you're going to say you're a failure. You're going to say all the things that you've been reminded, like all these things that you were reminded as a kid, probably, of this post-traumatic stuff that comes into your minds, and you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm horrible, I'm a loser, and da-da-da-da-da, which is fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can be let down and you can feel sad, but to me, that's okay, because I'm my own worst critic. I will look in the mirror and be like, I'm fat, I'm a loser, I need to do it. But you know what the difference is? I think I take a step back and I go, what's the alternative? Yeah. The alternative is for me to sit on my freaking butt and do nothing. Yeah. Or my alternative is to actually be stressed out about this stuff instead of being stressed out about just not doing anything and sitting there and living a life. Yep. And the thing is, why also I'm happy I get mad, and I'm happy I say that things to myself, is because if I didn't, then I don't believe I could achieve what I'm possible achieving. Yes. It wouldn't matter to me. Like if it didn't make me mad, then it wouldn't matter to me. Yeah. Like if you think about all the things that we always say, hey, the only reason that I get mad at you or your kids or whatever is because I care so much. Yeah. Well, the only reason you get mad at yourself is because you care so much. That's a good thing. Yeah. And I heard someone, I can't remember this guy. So he was on Lewis Howes' podcast, but one of the things that he said was, what do you think is more important? More positive thinking or less negative thinking?
More positive thinking.
Less negative.
Really?
Thinking.
Okay.
He says less, and that's what it is you identify when you have these negative thoughts and how you turn them. It's not necessarily, I'm saying a raw. So 75% of our thoughts in a day are negative.
Yeah, and I believe that.
And then they are repeated 90% every single, same thoughts.
I love that stat because it is true.
It's true. Yep. So the way I was like thinking about it is like, okay, I can't just quit these thoughts and just be like, I'm going to pound. But when I'm saying these things to myself, the difference is, okay, this negative, it's a negative thought, but guess what I'm going to go do? I'm going to go do this other stuff and like,
I'm going to go because you get to choose which thought takes center stage in your brain, right? Mm-hmm. So you can take that thought, and it's not like you have to replace it right away. It's like being aware. Oh my gosh, there's a negative thought. Even that right there is a huge step. Don't make yourself wrong for having it. Yep. Just identify that it's there. And actually, what's interesting, Bruce, is the next 5 weeks, I'm doing a 5-part series in here. And one of my lessons, so guys, just to kind of prep you for what's ahead for January, a couple things I want to say real quick before we get too far. Number one, on this podcast, I've decided to devote January to improving you. Not you, Bruce, all of us, to improving you guys listening. So over the month of January, it's going to bleed into February a little bit. We're going to do a 5-part series on 5 teachings and lessons. I'm ready to teach again. This is the first time I'm teaching
there we go.
in a year, Bruce.
Good.
See, I know. So, and one of the lessons is going to be on thoughts and overthinking. Perfect. Because it's such a big thing. And so that stat that you say, we're actually going to repeat that in there. It's so important to know. And we're going to talk about how to do that. So there's a handful of things over the next 5 weeks. And then the second thing I want to tell you guys before I go too far, that spawns off of what Bruce was saying, was the magic of transformation, the secret sauce of transformation. It is so simple. And here's the best thing. I'm not selling you on a damn thing, nothing. If you were a part of any of the things that I've done in the past, I did a lot of challenges. I have an app, and they were all paid things. I think hands down, the most valuable thing that I ever did was the free thing, the free 5-day Better Body Boot Camp. I ran it in August 2023. And I ran it in August 2022. And then I did it again last year, January 2023. And the transformations that came out of that free 5-day boot camp were so awesome. And I'm not talking about physical transformations. I'm talking about mental, emotional self-love in a way where people could not undo what they done, and how it kickstarted them, whether they went on to one of my challenges or to something else. It gave them something that they will never lose. And it was a new perspective of who they are, one where they love. And I'm doing it again this year. And I'm not selling you anything on the back end. Like usually you'll do a free thing. If I'm being totally honest, you'll do a free challenge like that, or anyone you've been to, and they'll be like, okay, now buy this course at the end. I'm not selling anything. It's something I've wanted to do since I kind of stepped away from teaching over the last year to heal myself. I have known that I did want to run that 5-day boot camp again because it was so powerful. It will light you up. And so I want to, if you guys go to HeidiPowell.net/boot camp, HeidiPowell.net/boot camp. Another one I'm going to, HeidiPowell.net/boot camp. We're going to keep it simple. You'll be able to sign up for that. It is totally free. It's 5 days. And Bruce, this is what's cool too, is like I spent so many years guiding you and leading you and teaching you and helping you. And then over the past couple years, it's like the teacher became the student and the student became the teacher. And Bruce, the way that he jumped in and has helped my communities of people, of women, and these boot camps and things has been so awesome. And I hope you know how grateful I am.
Oh,
because you have soared yourself. And in fact, a lot of the people that went through that boot camp are people who work with you now.
Yeah.
You know,
and my favorite people.
Yeah. And every single day. So for 5 days, guys, what we'll do is we're going to go through, it's I guess the whole idea is give me 5 days for 5 minutes a day. We're going to do a quick nutrition tip. We're going to give you a 5-minute workout. And then I'm going to do a mindset lesson. Like we're going to talk about these things. So the things that Bruce is talking about that we taught the people on extreme weight loss, I will go through it in a video with you. 5 days. It's really a week because I do an intro day, 5 days, and then there's a 6th celebratory day. We have a free Facebook community that once you sign up, you'll get into. I'm going live in the Facebook community. You have a video a day. You'll get an email. You have worksheets. But at the very least, I'm going live in there every single day. Maybe I can get you to pop in.
Yeah,
Will
that's
you pop
right.
in?
I can pop in.
You guys are going to love Bruce. But we're going to do that. So go, if you want this, again, totally free. There, you don't have to put your credit card in anywhere. Go to HeidiPowell.net/boot camp and sign up and get some of the gold. I think the gold that Bruce is talking about. It's a lot simpler. Don't you think that transformation is actually, it's simpler and it's harder. It's simpler because it takes all of the math that you think you need to do, right? With the eating, and it just dumbs it down.
Exactly.
Smarts it down, I'm going to say.
Well, and it's just like so focused on just the day. Like, hey, what do I need to do today? Like that's the thing is people need to realize it's just today. You know, like it's not, you got all of 2024 or you got 2 weeks before the end of the year or any of that stuff. It's just all,
sorry guys, someone was calling on my phone.
But it's just
do airplane mode.
The thing is it's one day at a time.
Yeah.
And one moment at a time. And one thing that I've learned over this past year, more than anything, I bet, and probably Heidi has too, is like every day is not guaranteed. And so, that's one thing that I've just really what I've come into the close of this year on, and then heading into the next year, is relationships, and just like really focusing in on them. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Because like all this other stuff and all the noise that's out there and all the trying to achieve this and get this, it doesn't matter, you know, because what matters is what you did that day and who you did it with and how much you loved them. And that's really what it is. When you start living that kind of mentality, like tomorrow's not guaranteed, you're going to crush whatever you do. Like you're going to fall down, but guess what? If you have a chance to get back up the next day, you're going to be so much more happier, you know?
They're one of my favorite, I don't even know if this is a real quote or if I'm saying it wrong, but they say people aren't going to remember what you said or what you did. They're only going to remember how you made them feel.
100%.
One of the things I love about you is how you make everyone feel who you are around. And even people, like, they don't have to just work with you to have you make them feel good. People who have not worked with you for years, you still treat them as if they're the most valuable person. Like at your events, gosh, guys, I don't know anyone listening. If you followed me for a while, back in July, and obviously for years before, I would post, Bruce has this really cool thing called Epic Weekend. And so real quick, Bruce is a coach now.
Yeah.
So Bruce, I didn't even get to that. He's a coach. He's an author. And it's really been cool to see him do his thing. His people freaking love him because he makes them the promise, and he not only makes the promise, but he fulfills on the promise of, what is it? I'm going to be the most dependable thing in your life.
Most consistent thing in your life. Like most consistent
And it's
thing.
true. I could call or text Bruce and he would drop whatever he had. Well, I mean, he wouldn't drop someone else, but he would find, that's what I don't get. You find a way to show up for everyone in the moment that they need without letting anyone else down. I don't know how you do it.
I don't know either. I was asked that on a question box, today. I was asked, actually, they were like, how do you, continue to never give up on your people and just like, and never get tired? And the only person I can think of is, because I'm a very religious guy too, is I got to thank God for giving me that gift. Everyone has gifts, and that was mine. That's what he gave me, and I was like, I'm pretty pumped about it. So I would like to trade it for like being the greatest NFL player or NBA player of all time, maybe, but I'll take it.
The greatest Raider?
Yeah, the greatest Raider.
If you don't know, Bruce is a die-hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you've never met a more die-hard Raider fan. Like,
No.
If the Raiders have a bad game,
it's bad.
It's bad. If they have a good game,
it's real
it's
good.
good.
Yeah. The world's coming to an end if they have a bad game.
It's true.
But I think that's all it is. And I mean, and I'm glad and I'm blessed that I was able to find that. And that's kind of where my whole life has been about. That's what like everything I went through as a kid and everything is, that's what I always say is God set me up beautifully to give me a beautiful life. And I wouldn't trade it for the world, all the ups and downs and even the struggles to this day, like golly, life just seems like it's so, I just remember always talking to Heidi about it with life of, man, when you're riding high, that roller coaster's coming back down and sooner or later. And it's like 1 hour, it's great. The next hour, it's not. But the point is, as long as you're just like getting back up, showing back up and doing the best you can, nobody can take that away from you.
I love that. It's, I actually had said that in my podcast a couple weeks ago. Every single high is going to be followed by an equally low low, and every single low will be followed by an equally high. And that was one of the things when you guys at the end of your year, we would say it always, but I remember being like, okay, realistic expectations. Because some people don't want to accept that, but until we accept that and we're aware, that's not pessimistic.
No.
When you're in a high place and you've achieved something, right? Like you lost all that weight or you accomplished something amazing, you have to know in your head, this is amazing. I appreciate it. I'm going to cherish it because I'm going to experience a low. This is what it is to be human. Then when you get to that low, what that does is it allows you to be like, oh, this is just that thing that Heidi or whoever was talking about. Like I'm here and also I'm going to make it through, right? Like, cause when we're in that low, there are times where we feel like we're never going to see the other side of it.
No.
But it's like understanding. And I bet if everyone listening and you too, Bruce, like we can look back at our life and think of every single low that we never thought we'd make it through. And we did.
And you did.
And then what was on the other side of it?
The greatness,
the lessons that we learned.
It's not it's never a low or a failure. The only time that you should never waste a failure.
Yeah.
Like, or waste a low. Like, don't waste them. Like, use them to your life. Use them to your advantage. Like those, like you don't need to lose it. And I use so many sports analogies. Like you were just saying, there's only one team that wins the championship at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And all these great players that come through and they're icons and everything. Think about how they go out. They don't go out on top. Like the only one that I knew retired out on top was Peyton Manning retired, but even he was scrummy like that year. His defense won him the title. But if you think of like Tom Brady, he went out on a loss. They lost in the playoffs, a disappointing year. Like so he goes from winning all these Super Bowls, the greatest quarterback ever to live. The next year he goes through a divorce with Giselle and he loses and he retires from football. So it sounds pretty depressing, but so Tom Brady, when 1 year went from the greatest thing, married to Giselle. If you don't know who Giselle is,
she's beautiful.
Wow. But so like he went, I just use so many sports analogies, but there's so much that you can use with life. And that's just a prime example. These athletes, I mean, you never see them go out on a high. It's just like that. They win a championship, and then all of a sudden, some of them never even get back.
But then let me say this. So then they're down. They're also out of the public. So what you don't see after is I'm sure they go through a huge identity crisis. Like when you are not who you've always been and you're out of the public, you're not getting that recognition, the adoration, the feedback from your fans, and you're seen as something, maybe that went out on a low. There's a lot of shifting that's happening inside. And what you just said was so huge. Do not waste a low. So that low for them or for anyone, if you've ever been in it, if you lost the weight or when you got married or had a baby and you're on this high, you achieved, got a promotion, there was a low on the other side of it. That low is actually the gift. Like we think the highs are the gift. We think the achievement is the gift. The gift is actually inside of the low because that's the opportunity for our lessons. Like my freaking last year, Bruce, like August when I started my panic attacks through obviously Dave's death,
well, and what are you going to use in your life? Like, you're not going to use the highs. Like,
you can't learn in the highs.
Yeah, you can't
There's nothing
learn in
to
the
learn.
highs. Like, I all out of my year of extreme weight loss, the things that stick out to me were all my lows that I had that have helped me catapult now. So when people are like, "Hey, how do you bounce back?" Well, I've had,
I've been
on
in
extreme
that low
weight
place.
loss. I've been in that low place, and you know what? I know I can do it.
Yeah.
But if I was always on highs and always winning, I would just never be like...
You couldn't relate to anyone.
No,
you could not help them.
That's not normal. Yeah, no one can relate to that.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see the struggle and then you overcome from it. But if you're always on top, you don't learn anything. I've never learned from winning. Like when I win the championship in anything that I've won a championship in, I don't think about, man, yes, that's right. No, I think about the hard times that I had. And then when times do get hard, I'm going to go back to the old hard times that I've overcome to help me keep going.
Yeah. I love that because I think in general, a lot of the people listening and we're all susceptible to it. You and I, we oftentimes see someone's success on Instagram and that's all that we see. And we think something's wrong with us, whether it's weight loss success or family success, marriage success, career success. We don't see we're seeing that highlight reel. And so we don't understand like the lows that they've had to endure or that they are currently enduring to get to where they are. Yeah. The work that they put in. And that's what I think, Extreme Weight Loss, our show did so well.
Yeah.
Is it did magnify and show the struggle. I think that's what both of our methodologies of coaching does so well. And my challenges in the upcoming boot camp, it's like, I don't want you to show up perfect. I want you to show up as you. And if you ate a whole pizza and some ice cream last night, show up as you. And that's beautiful and courageous, right? Until we eliminate it, kind of what that does is eliminates the shame, because, shame is what pulls us down.
Oh, yeah. It destroys us.
Yeah. So I think one of the things I want to also talk about, which is it's one of the things that I love hearing from you. Well, I'm actually going to leave it in your court because after the show, there are a lot of really great people on the show and a lot of people have done really great things since. And also I think you are amongst the standouts, like the way that you've taken life and like created something so huge with it that not only would be tough for anyone, let alone someone with the odds that you had with the history of your dad, right? And let me say this, you've done it with such an awesome attitude. Like to hear you on this podcast right now, and you've always been like this, to hear you talk about how grateful you are for your life. A lot of people would be sitting in your shoes after having endured what you did and say, poor me. Like what is your magic? How are you able to sit in a place like this and have a perspective like that?
Well, I will say, and I love that. I don't like Heidi's saying, I don't always sometimes I'm so, just to let everybody know.
You have bad days. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there. And here's the thing. Remember, every high has an equal low. Bruce is, same with me. We're roller coaster riders over here.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I think when I've gone through what I've gone through, and that's why I do say I'm so blessed, is it's made me just have a perspective on life that's just like, wow, this is so awesome to be able to appreciate the littlest of little things.
Yeah.
And we have a thing every day in our coaching group. It's like mandatory that you have to post 3 things you're grateful for.
I love it.
And the moment our group doesn't, there's nothing more that doesn't fire me up. If they want to get me pissed off at our group and they know, then that's it. I'll just go on there and just be like, well, I guess everybody's unpleasant. And then I'll just say like, well, I guess we have nothing to be grateful for. And I think that's one of the things is the gratitude. I mean, I was at T-Mobile the other day and they were asking me, they were like, cause I have a before photo on my phone, like of my 400-pound self as my screensaver. Yeah. Just to always kind of remind me, like when I get in those situations, like what I'm doing here. Yeah. And so he was just like, so what you do, like transformations and you help people? And yeah. And he's all, what's the first thing? And I think I shocked him and I said, well, one of the first things is just practice gratitude.
Yeah.
And I think he was just like, he was like, simple. What?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, just, I mean, if we can just switch that to be like grateful for a life that we have and the life that we're here, then that can do wonders. And I think that's kind of the way that I look at it, you know, and I do get caught up in all the godly things. I get caught up sometimes in so much of the stuff. But when I take a step back and just be like, man, it's okay. Like there's more to life. And it's just think about where I used to be and just be like, look where I am now. And I'm so grateful for that. So it kind of just hones me in. And then I'm able to listen, like you said, to others. Cause I've been there as, I mean, not the worst that everybody's had, but I mean, I've been poor as can be. I've slept on like concrete and stuff like that and different kinds of things in my house. And I mean, when they came to film our show, our electricity and water was all turned off. I mean, so it was just, I mean, little things, you know, like
life hasn't been easy.
No, life has not been easy. So when it does get easy and I can get in a car and it starts every morning, like that's like those little things, like it's crazy because, and even after the show, you remember I had that Mercedes.
I do.
And that thing was always breaking down. See, that's the thing people don't understand. That's only a few years ago. So like this has been a fight my entire life.
When he says Mercedes, it was not the Mercedes that you're thinking, okay?
It was a 91 Mercedes that I paid $1,000 for, okay? Let's just get that right out of the way.
Oh, yeah, there have been so many things. And I love, you had said one of the first things you tell your people is to practice gratitude. I think the biggest word there is actually practice. Because gratitude is not like, and your quote is, you don't inherit your attitude, you choose your
attitude. Yep.
Right there, by choosing, in order to choose your attitude, you have to practice, right? You practice. It's not gratitude is not a way of being that just is or isn't. It's something like a muscle. You have to learn to work the muscle out. It's like learning a new skill on piano or whatever. Gratitude is a skill. Like you have to learn and practice gratitude to be good at it. So if someone's listening today, well, they're all listening, but if they want to learn how to practice gratitude, how can they start?
Just get up in the morning, write 3 things down, and every day. And it doesn't have to be dramatic. Like, this is the thing is people like even, and I can go on a tangent. It's like, know your why, but look at this thing. You Google, okay. If you Google, what are the top gratitudes? It's not going to know. It's not going to tell you, yes, this one's the number 1 gratitude in the world if you say this. So it doesn't matter.
Well, one of the things you could be grateful for is Google. Like
you can be grateful. Yeah. The more that you can pop open a diet soda that I got here, like guys, it can be that simple. It's not like, oh, my gratitude wasn't that good. Because I hear so many people like, well, I think I'm just grateful that the sun came up today. Well, shit, yeah, that's great. Let's be grateful for it. You know, like.
Well, my episode just got an E for explicit because he just said shit.
That's all right.
Okay, so let's do it real quick.
Yeah.
What 3 things? So
3 things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for my buddy Hunter that's in town. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for my family, and I'm grateful for God and everything that He's given me in my life.
Okay, I'm going to do it too. So rolled the window down. I am actually super grateful to be sitting in this car with you right now because
and that too. There's a lot. See that? I messed up.
I'm what the heck, Bruce?
I didn't put me on the spot right there. Okay? I was like, okay, I overthink my gratitude there.
But I am.
Yeah.
It's been a long, like Bruce and I used to do like daily Starbucks runs together where we'd catch up. And he has a kid now and a wife and an awesome life. And we're all going in different directions. I have 4 kids. And I mean, it's been a while since we've done this.
Yeah.
And so to be in a car talking to you is really awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm actually thinking of stories are not appropriate for this podcast.
No, for anywhere. But yeah.
Bruce and I, what's super cool about our relationship is that we can, it's so vast. Like the depth of it is all over the place. Like we can talk about and get into God and religion and all of that, or transformation and teaching and loving people and relationships, or family. And also we can have so
much fun.
Fun together.
And guys, that's what you gotta have though. All those things.
It is true. Okay. So that number 1 is that. And I'm going to roll into that, our just whole relationship.
Yeah. Number
2, I am grateful. I'm really grateful for this last year.
Yeah.
It's so, like, I'm grateful for the shitstorm that I feel like I've been inside of. And in it, like, you know how sometimes you're in the middle of a storm and you're like, you feel like you're not going to get out. I feel like the storm started and I already was prepared for it. Like the storm started when Dave died, right? Like I already, though, I mean, it really started with my anxiety, but like to be in a place where I was connected to God for once in my life, for the first time in my life, and not just God, but myself, like to actually have a relationship with myself was so important because it allowed me to be better in every single way and handle all of it. So I'm really grateful for it because I do feel like I'm a better person and I still have a long way to go. So grateful for that. And then the other thing I'm going to say I'm grateful for, the rain. Like we're sitting in a car right now with rain on the windshield.
We need it in Arizona. We need it.
We do.
Especially for Christmas. Like, we don't get snow here.
I know. We
so
at least
I feel
need
like this
rain.
is like, it feels like, okay, we still got something.
You know, it's funny though. I just washed my car. Every time I wash my car, it rains. I think that's the way that it has to go. I'm going to add a 4th thing because I am really, will you please to hop in the boot camp with me?
Yeah, I promise.
I don't know if you know, Bruce, can you imagine taking a full year off of teaching and then knowing that you're going to do the thing that everyone can afford because it's free? And the thing that actually makes a difference, which is all the I'm so excited about this. I was rewatching the videos this morning from the thing. Have you watched those videos yet?
I think I've watched a couple before.
Oh, it's just it's so attainable and easy. And that's what it has to be. Like I went and saw this doctor the other day who's amazing, but the list of things that I got back for my plan, it was 28 things and it was really hard. And luckily I've been a teacher of this stuff. So I was like, well, I'm going to do what I can do. And that's going to be enough. Most people would be like, I can't do this because it's too much. Throw my hands up. And I understand that about most people. I love that this is something where every single day they get a small, valuable nugget in nutrition, a small, valuable win in a workout, a small but valuable lesson in their mind and their heart. And what's cool about those mind and heart things, it's once that seed is, they're like seeds. So the nugget is with nutrition, right? The win is with workout, and the mindset thing is a seed. And like once that's planted in their head, it might be small today, but tomorrow and the next day, it grows.
It's like bamboo. It's like
that's what it is.
It'll just sit there forever, but someday it's going to all of a sudden
sprout
blossom.
up.
Yeah.
And why can bamboo sprout up so high? Because the roots are so deep.
Exactly.
And it's like strong. What didn't I have a quote like that on some shirts? What was it? Did it say strong like bamboo?
Something like that.
I don't know.
It's strong AF, I think.
I did have strong AF. It's not on this hat. Oh, all the things. Isn't it funny to think of all the things last year or I should say the year before was, and now it's all gone and somehow it's all more meaningful.
Yeah, and we made it.
You know, we did. We made it here.
We made it.
Okay, we're going on 45 minutes now. I mean, there's so much more I could talk to you about because you are the most relentless person I know. You are. You also, I'm going to just say this about you before because I want people to know who you are and to go follow you. At Bruce Pitcher on Instagram. or at Larger Than Life, which is his coaching program. He has a YouTube, like a show where he has helped people transform their lives the same way his life was transformed. It's really awesome. You guys go find him. Come join my bootcamp, HeidiPowell.net/bootcamp. I'm going to make you come in.
I will come in. I have no problem coming in.
But also one thing I want to say too is I believe that one of the reasons you are so successful in your life right now, and by success, my measuring stick is not money. And I'm sure money follows when or enough follows, right? When you're rooted in the right things. But you're like who you are as a human. You are a successful human, your heart and your mind and how you give and how you love. And you're like a magnet to people. You really are. You're like good. I'm serious. And you're always striving for more. So you accept and you love everyone and you're striving to be better. Every single day you wake up saying, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? I think one of the biggest things for the biggest reasons why you're like that is because you made a choice when the show ended to surround yourself with people who made you want to strive to be better. Yeah. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, like you being here, Heidi just can't get rid of me no matter how hard she tries. Unless she says I'll get the boot camp.
I'll never try.
Yeah, it's true. It's the surroundings. The people are your people, and I've been very fortunate and very blessed to have people in my life now like Heidi and people that help me just thrive to be better. They won't let me not be better, and they do it in the most loving and caring way. And when you surround yourself with people like that, you're going to be successful. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are afraid to let go of people in their old lives and everything else. But I mean, you just got to. But if I didn't have these people, I don't know what I would do with my life. Like, that's where I feel like I am a millionaire. Like, if you have friends like me, if you have friends like me, like the people I have in my life, damn, people would trade $1 million for it to have friends like I got. So,
I think they'd trade anything for it.
Yeah, honestly, they would. One
of the best things I heard at Epic Weekend was JD Roth, who was the executive producer of the show Extreme Weight Loss. He had said that thing where he said, every single person in your life does one of these 4 things, at least one of these 4 things. And so everyone listening, listen to this. It's time to take inventory, okay? Because every single person in your life, make a list, does one or more of these 4 things. They either add, subtract, multiply, or divide. So they either add to your life, they subtract from your life, they multiply your life, or they divide your life. Those who are subtracting or dividing have no place in your life. Those who add and those who multiply, those are the people you surround yourself with. And then I think there's also an awesome personal inventory to say is, do I add? Do I subtract? Do I multiply or do I divide to other people's lives? Am I an energy suck? Because we all know an energy suck, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's okay to have someone that you share your struggles with, but you have to be reciprocal in the positivity as well. But that thing was so huge. And you when he said that, I was like, oh, that's what Bruce does.
Yeah.
Bruce chooses people and is addition and multiplication. Like you give life and give energy to people, and you surround yourself with people who do the same, who raise you up, make you be better, which is scary and uncomfortable. Like Jake Hutton, right? Jake Hutton, games athlete, CrossFit games athlete, and he's one of your best friends.
Yeah,
and he does not allow. And you love it. You love that he doesn't allow you to be anything but your best.
Exactly. And that is the truth of it's just, you want to be around people that do add and multiply in your life. And that's one of the biggest things I've learned is that thing is, you know what, if they're negative or whatever, you get 2 chances with me now. It's not even 3 strikes you're out.
It's
for
you.
2. It's 1, if they do something and I'm like, okay, well, good for him. And then if they do number 2, I'm just like, peace.
See that?
And it's not cutting them off completely, but it's just dude, you know what? I don't have time for this. I have people in my life that do care, and I want to devote that time into them, and I'm going to do it.
And that's a super hard thing to do.
Yeah, that's way hard for people.
And I think the older I get, I'll have to tell you a story when this is off.
I think that's what it is, because
you don't have that much time.
I'm getting old. I'm almost 40.
I'm 41.
You're gonna say that.
I'm almost 42.
Why would you say 40? It just seems
is that so
defeating.
Weird? I know. When did we get old?
Look at that. That's the negative thinking. You know how the less negative thinking, that's
yeah. Okay. Wait. Yeah.
Because I just went, oh, 40 sold. We laugh about it. Isn't it? See, when you twist it like that, that's how he was breaking it down. And I'm like, wow. Because we think it's funny and we're like, yeah, but we just did a negative thought.
We did.
We went straight negative.
Instead of saying like, we're 40, yay.
We've lived 40 years. Not that we should be fired up.
How healthy we are at 40, you know?
We went negative.
Oh my gosh, you're right. See
how many negative thoughts really do get into our heads? I'm
going to have to tell you a story, though.
Like, if you think about it, just the conversation that we were all having, like, and everything, we're like, my face was breaking out, like,
right before.
We were all negative. We're just all negative. It's just like, but I've been really trying to pay attention, but it's like so hard to not do it.
That's good. Like, I'm sitting in this car right now with no makeup on. And before we started recording, I was like, Bruce, I'm sorry I look like crap.
Yeah. And we're like, no, but we're all but it's negative thinking.
It is. Like, I should love myself like this.
That's why he says less negative
thinking.
Okay. Hone in on the less negative thinking.
Catch
Isn't that
myself.
crazy?
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's one thing, there's been so much good today. If there's one thing you can leave
5-star review.
Go leave me a review. No, I'm asking you, if there's one thing you can leave my listeners with today, what do you feel like they need to hear?
I think just going back to live life the fullest and don't take a day for granted. This day, like, you don't think, this is one of the best things I ever heard, is we all know we're going to die, but we all don't think we're going to die.
Ooh.
And that's the problem. And we don't live life like that. We think everyone else around us will. And so if you're sitting around and you're waiting and you're thinking about the phone call to somebody, or you're thinking about starting this, you're thinking about that, then go do it, because it's just like tomorrow is not coming. It is not guaranteed, and you better take full advantage of the day that you have. So that's the way that's the way you need to approach life, period. And give it your all. Give it your all every single day. And your all may not be to the standard that you want it to be, because it shouldn't be, because your standard should be so high that you shouldn't hit it all the time. But you just want to give life hell, and every single day, give it everything you got. And have no regrets, and don't stop thinking. Like, we just think, oh yeah, nothing will happen to me. Shit, you get a wake up call, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, so live life, live in the moment.
One of the most powerful things I heard you say, in one of my groups, was that you wanted to live your life in a way that had you knowing that you were going to stand before your maker and say, God, I gave it all I got.
Yep. Exactly. That's exactly it. I don't want him to be like, Bruce, why did you shortchange this? I gave you this much passion. You didn't give it to this. You didn't give it to that. I want him to be, and I opened this door for you, and you didn't, you kind of tampered into it, and then you just were like, I don't want, that would be the most defeating thing ever.
Well, I think it's safe to say you have lived so far in all your almost 40 years, your 40 amazing years, you have given it all you've gotten.
Yeah.
You've given it all you have got.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really awesome and really inspiring. And you guys, I promise you, if you go follow Bruce, you will not regret it. There's just, and you're going to get who he is. You're not going to get a version of him that he's not. If he's having a good day, you're going to know. If he's having a bad day, you're going to know.
Yeah.
If he's happy, sad. I think it's beautiful because it's authentic and it's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a sugar-coated, look at me, everything's great,
No. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank
you
for
doing this. This
was fun.
So fun. High five.
Yeah. Bingo.
This is so much fun. Do you know I haven't really had a guest on yet?
That's what I'm talking about.
You're my first real guest.
Right.
I've had Kira on, but she and I were
you on my podcast.
She started the podcast with me, so it was different.
That's right.
You're my first guest.
Yeah.
Where we talk about you, not me. It's nice. Awesome. Okay, guys, I do want to end this by reminding you, in the new year, one of the best things you can do for yourself, you do it or don't. You have nothing to lose, but go to HeidiPowell.net/boot camp, BOOTCAMP, for the thing I love the most about what I do. I really, really am excited for this. I'll get to spend every day of that week inside of a community with you. I just think it feels fun.